I've always had this strange feeling of being slightly out of place, like a piece from a different puzzle forced into the wrong box. It shows at work in the crowded, noisy corridors, and even at home in the stillness where I'm supposed to feel most at ease. I'm Ethan, dependable employee at a boutique marketing agency, structured schedule, stable relationship, normal life by every visible measure. People see the polished version of me, pressed shirts, safe colors, steady voice. My girlfriend, Isabella, believes she knows me completely and I care about her more than anything. But there's a private layer I've kept sealed away for years, a truth I've never dared to share. It began back in my teens as a quiet experiment. When the house was empty, I would slip into my sister's room and run my fingers over the fabrics hanging in her closet. Soft blouses, flowing skirts, bright dresses full of personality. What started as simple curiosity turned into something deeper. Wearing them felt like stepping into a lighter version of myself, more expressive, less confined by expectations I never chose but somehow inherited. Outside those moments, I buried that side of me completely. The world didn't feel forgiving enough for it. Not friends, not coworkers, not the careful social circles I moved through each day. So I built a controlled image and lived inside it. Isabella fell in love with that version. The composed, predictable man, and I convinced myself that was enough. I didn't realize how fragile that balance was, or how quickly it could be disrupted by people I trusted most. December arrived wrapped in lights and cold air, the city glowing with holiday decorations and the scent of evergreen drifting through the streets. One evening after work, drained but relieved, I returned to my small apartment. Beige walls, a worn comfortable sofa, and a little Christmas tree blinking quietly in the corner, expecting nothing more than a peaceful night. I had no idea everything was about to shift. I've always enjoyed the holiday season, even if it stirred a quiet tension inside me. A subtle nervousness that festive lights and cheerful music could never fully drown out. That evening, Isabella was out at a Christmas party with her friends, leaving the apartment unusually still. I stretched out on the couch with a warm mug in my hands, savoring the silence, until my phone vibrated. A message flashed from my sister Lena. "Come by. We've planned something fun. Trust me, you'll love it." I paused. Lena and our younger sister Mia were famous for their over-the-top surprises and mischievous ideas. Getting involved with their fun often meant losing control of the situation entirely. Still, curiosity tugged at me and against my better judgment I agreed. I couldn't have guessed their surprise would brush so close to the truth I'd worked so hard to hide. By the time I reached their place, my pulse was already elevated. The door flew open to Lena's knowing grin and Mia's barely contained excitement. "Perfect timing," Lena said brightly. "We've got a special Christmas activity ready." "Special how?" I asked, half laughing, half wary. Mia only smiled. "You'll find out." The mood in the room felt different, playful on the surface but charged underneath. It was clear this wasn't an ordinary holiday visit. It felt more like a dare wrapped in tinsel. They led me inside. Their living room looked like a holiday display window. Glowing lights, draped garlands, and off to one side, a neatly arranged set of clothing pieces laid out with suspicious care. My breath caught. The collection wasn't random. Every item looked intentionally chosen. Soft knits, flowing cuts, coordinated accessories. Lena lifted a deep red velvet dress and held it toward me. "Start with this," she said lightly. "Show us some Christmas spirit." My thoughts tangled. Embarrassment, excitement, resistance, and a strange sense of relief all colliding at once. The boundary between joke and confession suddenly felt very thin. With the dress in my hands, it became clear. They knew, or at least suspected. This wasn't just teasing. It was a test, or maybe an invitation. I stood before the tall mirror in Lena's room, fabric gathered in my grip, staring at my own uncertain reflection. It was just clothing, nothing more. Yet it felt like standing before a door I'd kept locked for years. They hovered nearby, whispering and laughing, their confidence a sharp contrast to my hesitation. "It suits you already," Lena said with a playful smirk. "Stop overthinking. Just enjoy it." Trying something like this alone had always felt safe, controlled, invisible. Doing it here, under bright lights and watchful eyes, felt like stepping onto a stage. But beneath the nerves, there was also a flicker of anticipation I couldn't deny. When I finally changed, the velvet settled smoothly against my skin, unfamiliar but comforting. The fit, the weight, the movement. It awakened that hidden sense of expression I'd kept buried. Mia's face lit up with genuine delight, and her reaction eased something tight in my chest. "Hold on," Lena said. "We're not finished yet." She reached for the finishing touches, delicate layers and matching shoes that completed the look. As I put them on, I felt my posture shift, my awareness sharpen. Each small addition made the moment feel more real, less like a prank, more like a reveal. And standing there, caught between nerves and exhilaration, I realized the evening was no longer about their game. The room seemed to shift around me as if the ground itself had tilted a few degrees. In the heels, I stood differently, straighter, more deliberate, carrying a confidence that surprised me even as a sharp sense of exposure prickled across my skin. "Makeup," Mia reminded gently, lifting a small palette of colors and gloss like a final piece of the puzzle. My fingers hesitated around the brush. Cosmetics had always belonged to my most private moments, quiet experiments behind locked doors, never observed, never shared. Now those same rituals felt like a performance under bright lights. One shaky line, one careless smudge, and everything I'd kept hidden might feel suddenly, undeniably real. "Relax," Lena said, her tone softer than before. "Think of it as highlighting what's already there." I exhaled slowly and began. A touch of color here, a careful blend there. With each step, the reflection in the mirror evolved. The guarded, conventional version of me seemed to recede, replaced by a brighter, more expressive presence I'd only ever glimpsed in secret. When I finally set the brush down, I barely recognized myself. Curls framing my face, features subtly defined, posture transformed by velvet and height. My sisters reacted with delighted approval, circling me, adjusting details, celebrating their handiwork. Pride warmed my chest, but anxiety coiled just beneath it. What if Isabella saw? What if this version of me escaped the safety of this room? Lena's eyes flashed with playful intent. "All right," she said. "How we make it interesting." "Interesting how?" I asked carefully. She gestured toward the living room, where lights and decorations formed a sparkling backdrop. They wanted photos, festive poses, playful shots, something to capture the moment. The word capture made my pulse jump. Pictures meant evidence. Permanence. I told myself it was safe, just family, just fun, yet my hands still trembled. Every instinct urged caution, but another voice inside me, braver, long suppressed, wanted to be seen. The first poses felt awkward and stiff. I didn't know where to put my hands, how to stand, how to smile. But click by click something loosened. My movements grew more natural, my expression less forced. Confidence crept in where fear had been. It was strangely intoxicating. Still, tension lingered at the edges. Every sound from outside drew my attention. Headlights passing the window made my heart skip. The thrill and the risk were tangled together, impossible to separate. Then came the next suggestion. A short holiday video, nothing serious, just movement and music. My stomach dropped. Photos were one thing. Video felt far more exposed. I nearly refused, but they encouraged me, steady and upbeat, until I found myself going along with it. As the music played and I followed their lead, a surprising sense of freedom washed through me. For a few moments I stopped overthinking. I simply moved, laughed, existed. Felt like breathing fresh air after years indoors. Later, as the night deepened, their teasing turned more daring, playful what-ifs and hypothetical scenarios that made my cheeks burn. The evening had become more than a holiday stunt. It was a boundary line and I was standing right on it. Just when I began to settle into that fragile confidence, a sudden knock split the air. Everything inside me locked up. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. That couldn't be Isabella, she wouldn't be back yet. So who was it? Lena and Mia exchanged knowing looks, barely suppressing their smiles. "Go check," Lena said. I stared at her. "I can't. What if it's someone I know?" Mia laughed softly. "That's the point. You're doing great. Don't back out now." I swallowed hard, fists tightening as I tried to steady my breathing, the door's echo still vibrating through my chest. The night had crossed from playful to pivotal, and there was no easy way back. Time dragged between each knock, the sound growing heavier, more insistent. Voices murmured in the hallway. Neighbors, maybe friends, indistinct but close enough to tighten the knot in my chest. Everything I'd kept carefully hidden for years suddenly felt fragile, like glass about to crack. Lena nudged me forward. "You've got this. Walk tall." Confident. The words felt unreal compared to the tremor in my legs. Still, I reached for the handle and opened the door. A woman stood there I didn't recognize, wrapped in a bright red coat, her expression warm and entertained, as if she'd arrived exactly where she expected to be. "Heard there's a holiday gathering," she said brightly. "Thought I'd join the fun." My thoughts scattered. I glanced back. Lena and Mia looked far too pleased. Of course this was planned. They welcomed her in before I could recover. I tried to step aside gracefully, but the heels forced every movement into careful exaggeration. I felt on display, every detail noticed, assessed. The dress, the curls, the makeup I'd applied with shaking hands. "Well," the woman said with a playful lift of her brow, "don't you look festive?" Heat rushed to my face. I smoothed the skirt unconsciously as if composure could double as armor. Lena clapped once. "New rule," she announced. "You stay in character and host our little Christmas challenge. No backing out now." Part of me wanted to disappear down the hallway and change. Another part, the hidden, braver part, wondered what would happen if I didn't. The guest stepped closer, studying me with curious friendliness. "So you're tonight's centerpiece?" "I guess so," I managed quietly. "Perfect," she said. "Let's see what you can do." They handed me a tray of delicate ornaments and directed me toward the tree. My hands trembled as I worked. Each step required balance and intention. Every tiny sound, laughter, glass clinking, floorboards creaking, felt magnified. Reaching upward, I misjudged my footing. My heels snagged the rug. I lurched, caught myself against the tree, but one ornament slipped and shattered on the floor in a spray of glittering fragments. A sharp gasp, then laughter. My embarrassment flared, yet strangely so did my focus. I steadied myself, lifted my chin, and continued more carefully than before. Questions followed, light but probing. Did I do this often? Was this a hobby? I faltered, until Mia smoothly redirected with a joke and a grin. Still, the guest's knowing look suggested she understood more than she said. Minutes stretched. Task after task. Smile after smile. Nerves and excitement braided together until I could barely tell them apart. Then Lena placed a small wrapped box in my hands. "Final round," she said. "Open it and keep that poise." Inside was a delicate necklace, a tiny snowflake charm catching the light. I hesitated only a moment before fastening it. The cool metal settled against my skin, unexpectedly grounding. "There," the guest said softly. "Now you fit the moment." Something in that struck deep. For once, nothing hidden. Nothing split in two. And just as that fragile sense of acceptance took hold, footsteps echoed in the stairwell outside. Keys. The turn of a lock. My breath vanished. Lena and Mia exchanged electric anticipatory looks. The door opened, and Isabella stepped in, winter air swirling around her, eyes lifting and widening, as they found me standing beneath the Christmas lights. The room fell into suspended silence, every heartbeat loud as thunder, the truth finally standing in plain sight. Everything I had feared and imagined seemed to compress into that single breathless instant. Would she reject me? Try to laugh it off? Or truly see me, not the careful mask but the hidden truth beneath it? Balanced between confession and consequence, I understood with startling clarity that whatever happened next would redraw my life completely. Isabella stood just inside the doorway, motionless. Her eyes widened, her lips parted slightly as she took me in. The dress, the heels, the styled hair, the careful makeup. Silence thickened the air. My pulse pounded so loudly it drowned out every other sound. I tried to speak, but years of secrecy tightened in my throat. Words refused to form. There was nowhere left to retreat, nothing left to hide behind. Across the room, Lena and Mia watched with poorly concealed satisfaction, their plan fully realized. "Well," Lena said breezily, "that reveal landed perfectly." Isabella stepped closer, cautious, studying me as if reassessing everything she thought she knew. "Ethan," she said softly, uncertainty woven through my name. My thoughts collided, panic, hope, shame, relief. I wanted to explain the years of quiet exploration, the private moments, the sense of authenticity I never dared share. Instead, all I managed was a small, unsteady smile. "It's still me," I said quietly. "Just more honest." Her expression shifted, confusion still there but no longer sharp. "Searching." "I don't get it yet," she admitted, voice gentle. But I'm listening. The possibility of understanding felt almost as overwhelming as rejection would have. The room held its breath around us. Then a faint movement near the window caught my eye. A passing shadow, a reminder that privacy is never guaranteed. My nerves surged again. The moment felt exposed from every angle. Lena murmured from behind me, half teasing, half serious, "No more hiding now." I took a careful step forward, feeling the fabric move, the necklace cool against my skin, the height of the heels anchoring me in this new posture, this new honesty. The distance between Isabella and me felt enormous, and yet crossable. Her gaze softened further, something warmer beginning to surface beneath the surprise. I drew breath to finally say everything. And the doorbell rang. Sudden. Jarring. The fragile stillness shattered. My sister's eyes lit with anticipation. Isabella startled, glancing toward the door, then back at me. Tension surged through the room again, electric and unresolved. The bell rang once more, followed by a faint, familiar laugh from the other side. Someone aware, someone curious. I stood rooted to the floor, caught between terror and liberation, realizing there was no returning to the life I'd carefully constructed. Whatever waited beyond that door, questions, judgment, or acceptance, would meet the real me. And this time I wasn't going to disappear.